The galaxy was a vast and complex network of stars, planets, and civilizations. Each species believed they were the most powerful in the universe, convinced that their advanced technology and rich history made them invincible. Among the most formidable of these was the Dominion, an empire that stretched across hundreds of star systems, conquering planet after planet. Their arrogance knew no bounds, and they had never met a race they could not control. But now, as they set their sights on a new target, Earth, they would soon discover that they had underestimated humanity in ways they could never have imagined. The Dominion's fleets, sleek and deadly, approached Earth's solar system without warning. The humans had no idea what was coming. For centuries, Earth had been a peaceful planet, isolated from the rest of the galaxy. Despite its primitive technology and lack of interstellar presence, humanity had lived in relative obscurity, unnoticed by the greater powers of the universe. But all of that was about to change. The Dominion had made the mistake of thinking Earth's people were weak, nothing more than simple, defenseless beings caught in their own little world. The first sign of the invasion came when Earth's military satellites, which had been designed to protect the planet from asteroids, detected the Dominion fleet's arrival. The message was clear. They were coming. There was no time to waste. The leaders of Earth's governments scrambled to respond, but they knew it was hopeless. Their weapons were outdated, their forces disorganized, and the alien ships were far beyond anything humanity could even dream of building. Panic began to spread. For the first time, Earth's people truly realized how fragile they were in the grand scheme of the galaxy. As the Dominion ships entered the outer reaches of the solar system, their commanders couldn't help but laugh. They had expected Earth to put up a fight, but now they were certain it would be an easy victory. They viewed the humans as little more than insects to be crushed beneath their boots. After all, no one had ever survived the might of the Dominion before. The invaders assumed their advanced weaponry would make quick work of Earth's defenses. Their first strike was aimed directly at the planet's largest cities. The blast was enormous, shaking the world to its core, but it was only the beginning. What the Dominion didn't know, however, was that the humans weren't as defenseless as they thought. In the chaos that followed the first attack, something strange happened. A mysterious signal was intercepted by Earth's military, something they couldn't quite understand. The message came from an unknown source, a voice that sent chills down the spine of every listener. The galaxy has underestimated you. Prepare to defend your home. At first, no one knew what this meant. Was it a warning? A call for help? Who was the message from? But it gave humanity something they desperately needed: hope. They began to realize that perhaps they weren't as powerless as they had believed. As the days passed, small, seemingly insignificant groups of humans started to experience strange things. Some felt stronger, more aware. Others saw visions, flashes of memories that didn't belong to them. Ancient images of warriors, fierce, proud, and seemingly immortal, filled their minds. There was a stirring in the depths of humanity's collective history, as though something buried for centuries was awakening. The Dominion's leaders didn't take the warning seriously. They dismissed it as a meaningless transmission from desperate humans trying to hold on to hope. They had dealt with countless planets and civilizations before, each one thinking they could resist the might of the Dominion. They were wrong every time, and Earth would be no different. The Dominion's armada moved closer, preparing for the final strike. But something was wrong. The human military, once helpless, began to show signs of organization. They deployed forces they hadn't even known they had. The strange new energy that humans were tapping into seemed to be growing stronger, but no one understood where it was coming from. Then, without warning, Earth's forces launched a counterattack. It was small, a mere fraction of what the Dominion had brought to bear, but it was enough to catch them off guard. A human ship, an experimental prototype thought to be outdated and useless, managed to take down one of the Dominion's scout ships in a single unexpected move. The alien fleet was stunned. They had expected easy prey, but the humans had fought back, and they had done so with power and precision that no one had seen coming. The Dominion couldn't explain it, and they didn't want to. They had underestimated Earth, and it was starting to show. But this was just the beginning. The Dominion was not going to retreat. They had come to conquer, and they were not about to be outdone by a primitive species. As the alien armada advanced, they believed this victory would be theirs. But now, for the first time, they weren't so sure. The humans had awakened something powerful, something ancient. What was this mysterious force? Where had it come from? The Dominion could feel the weight of their mistake, but it was already too late. Humanity was no longer the prey. The hunt had just begun. The first battle had shocked the Dominion, but their arrogance and overconfidence still held firm. The humans had shown a flicker of strength, but they were still seen as insignificant in the grand scheme of the galaxy. The Dominion's commanders quickly reassured their troops that the humans would be crushed, and their brief victory would be forgotten. But as the fleet advanced further into the solar system, the aliens began to notice something strange. Earth wasn't collapsing as they expected. In fact, humanity was showing signs of resilience that no one could explain. It all started with the artifact. Hidden deep beneath Earth's surface for centuries, it had lain dormant, waiting for the right moment to reveal its power. No one knew it existed, not even the humans themselves. The artifact had been placed there long ago by an unknown civilization, its purpose a mystery even to the most ancient races of the galaxy. It wasn't just a relic. It was a key, a catalyst that would awaken something long dormant within humanity. But for now, its presence was a well-kept secret. The first signs of its influence were subtle. A small group of humans, mostly civilians who had never seen a battlefield, began to experience strange transformations. Some found themselves faster, stronger, more agile than they had ever been. Others began to tap into abilities they couldn't explain: telekinetic powers, enhanced senses, or the ability to channel energy in ways they never thought possible. It was as if the artifact had unlocked a hidden potential within them, a connection to something ancient and powerful. These were not ordinary people. They were something more. They were the guardians of Earth's hidden power, and they had just awakened. These changes were not isolated. Word spread quickly, and soon people across the planet began to tap into this new power. The military, which had been struggling to hold back the alien invaders, was suddenly revitalized. Soldiers who had once been ordinary civilians found themselves effortlessly wielding advanced weapons they could barely understand. Tanks moved faster than ever before. Aircraft flew with unmatched precision. And most importantly, humans began to organize, rallying under a single banner, one that had been passed down through generations, but had long been forgotten: the Guardians. The Guardians were a group of ancient protectors, descendants of those who had once wielded the artifact's power to defend Earth from cosmic threats. They had faded into legend over the centuries, their existence known only to a select few. But now, as the Dominion's fleet closed in, the Guardians were needed more than ever. The world's governments, initially overwhelmed by the alien threat, finally began to listen to the whispers of these old protectors. The Guardians revealed themselves, sharing their knowledge of the artifact's power and training humanity to harness it. For the first time in Earth's history, the human race stood united. Despite their primitive origins, they had been chosen for something greater. Their true strength was not in their technology, but in their spirit, their ability to fight for what was right, to defend their home, and to protect their people. It wasn't just their physical strength that had awakened. It was something far deeper, a connection to the very core of their existence. They were warriors, and the galaxy had overlooked them for far too long. As the Dominion advanced, they began to notice the change. Their scouts, who had once found no resistance, now reported strange sightings, swarms of human ships appearing from nowhere, ancient technology suddenly in use, and human forces coordinating with a precision they couldn't fathom. What had been a simple conquest was now turning into a fight for survival. The Dominion's commanders, at first dismissive of Earth's capabilities, started to question their assumptions. How could these humans, who had been so weak just days ago, suddenly possess the strength to challenge them? Then came the first direct confrontation. The Dominion fleet, confident in its numbers and firepower, launched a full-scale assault on Earth. The humans were ready. The artifact had not only awakened their physical abilities, but it had also given them the power to tap into advanced energy-based weapons. The skies lit up with explosions as human ships, once thought outdated and obsolete, took to the stars with newfound speed and strength. The Dominion's superior firepower was no match for the humans' innovation and resilience. It wasn't long before the alien commanders realized that this was no ordinary planet. Earth wasn't just another weak species for them to conquer. There was something ancient and powerful here, something they hadn't counted on. The Dominion fleet began to retreat, but the damage was already done. The humans had proven their strength, and they had only just begun. Back on Earth, the true nature of the threat began to sink in. The Dominion had underestimated humanity, but now the humans were about to turn the tables. They were no longer the prey. They were the hunters. And the galaxy would soon learn that the war gods they had never seen coming had been hiding in plain sight all along. With each passing day, more humans tapped into the power of the artifact, and the Dominion's confidence began to crack. The fight for Earth had only just begun, and the galaxy would soon discover the true strength of humanity. The Dominion fleet had been forced into retreat, but the victory felt hollow to the humans. It was only the beginning, and the galaxy was still largely unaware of the force they had just awakened on Earth. The humans had proven their resilience, but they had yet to fully understand the power now coursing through them. For every victory, the Dominion had learned a little more about Earth's hidden strength, and they were not the type to make the same mistake twice. As days turned into weeks, the human forces regrouped, studying the ancient artifact and its secrets. The Guardians, the newly awakened protectors of Earth, were the key to unlocking its full potential. They began to train the humans in ways they never thought possible, teaching them how to harness not only the energy from the artifact, but also the ancient combat techniques of their ancestors. In hidden underground bunkers, humanity's best and brightest worked tirelessly, trying to develop new weapons, ships, and technology capable of taking the fight to the Dominion. But there was one thing the Guardians knew that the rest of humanity didn't. The artifact was not just a weapon. It was a living entity, bound to the planet itself. Its power came from the very core of Earth, and it was intricately tied to the fate of humanity. To truly unlock its potential, humanity would have to connect with it in a way no one could fully comprehend. The artifact had chosen Earth to be its protectors, and now it was awakening something else within the humans, something that had been buried deep in their DNA for millennia. The Guardians spoke of the Ancients, an advanced race of beings who had once roamed the stars, bringing peace and order to the galaxy. But when their time had passed, the Ancients had left behind the artifact as a safeguard for the future. It was meant to be a tool to defend Earth from external threats, but it was also a test to see if humanity had the strength to wield its power. The Dominion was just the first of many challenges. If humanity could not rise to meet the threat, the artifact would fall silent once again, and Earth would be left to face its doom alone. As Earth prepared for the next phase of the war, a new force began to emerge. The Dominion's retreat had not gone unnoticed. Other alien species, some hostile, some curious, had begun to watch Earth with interest. They had heard the rumors, whispers of a primitive species that had stood up to the might of the Dominion. The galaxy, once united in its belief of their superiority, was now divided. Some saw the humans as a growing threat, while others saw an opportunity to ally with the fledgling power. The Dominion, too, had taken notice of the humans' unexpected strength, but they were unwilling to admit their defeat. They had sent for reinforcements, an even larger fleet, capable of wiping out Earth once and for all. On Earth, the signs of the approaching storm were clear. The sky had darkened with the arrival of more ships. alien ships that were unlike anything humanity had seen before. These ships were not of the Dominion. They were the Harbingers, an ancient alien race known for their ruthless conquests. The Harbingers had been watching humanity for years, and now they had decided it was time to act. The humans, who had been rallying in their newfound strength, were about to face an even greater test. The battle was fierce, and Earth's skies were filled with the brilliant flashes of energy as the Dominion and Harbinger fleets clashed with humanity's forces. Despite the odds, humans were fighting with a strength no one could have predicted. The very land beneath their feet seemed to pulse with energy, as if the planet itself had become their ally. The artifact, once an ancient mystery, now radiated its power, transforming the humans into warriors unlike any the galaxy had ever seen. But the war was far from won. Even with the artifact's power fueling them, humanity was still vastly outnumbered. The Harbinger's ships were faster, more advanced, and their weapons more destructive. The Dominion, although retreating, had sent reinforcements, bigger, deadlier ships, and they were preparing for a final strike to destroy Earth once and for all. The human forces, though united and stronger than ever, were stretched thin. They needed a miracle to stand against the overwhelming odds. In the chaos of the ongoing battle, Lyra, leader of the Guardians and the key to unlocking the artifact's full potential, stood at the heart of the conflict. With her powerful abilities, she was able to hold her ground against the overwhelming alien forces. But as the battle raged on, a realization dawned upon her. The humans couldn't just rely on the artifact. They couldn't continue to play defense and hope for a miracle. They had to strike, to take the fight directly to their enemies. The galaxy had underestimated humanity for far too long, and now it was time to show them the true extent of their strength. Lyra called for a council of the world's greatest minds, both military and scientific. Together, they devised a plan to launch a counteroffensive, a plan that would take the war straight to the heart of the Dominion and Harbinger forces. The humans, armed with their newfound powers, would not just wait for the enemy to strike. They would initiate a decisive, all-out assault. It was a risky plan, one that could end in total annihilation, but the time for caution had passed. As the final preparations were made, the humans began to gather their forces. The once fractured military of Earth was now a unified, well-coordinated force. The artifact's power had not only made them stronger, but had connected them in ways that were almost telepathic. The Guardians and other awakened humans could communicate without words, coordinating their attacks with surgical precision. They knew that they had only one chance to win, and they would take it. The attack began under the cover of darkness, as human ships slipped past the enemy lines, using the newly acquired energy manipulation abilities to become nearly invisible to the alien scanners. The Dominion and Harbingers were caught off guard. Earth's ships, powered by the artifact's energy, moved with incredible speed and agility, overwhelming the enemy with unexpected ferocity. Human forces began to pick off the alien ships one by one, taking advantage of every weakness in the fleet's formation. But just as victory seemed within reach, the Dominion unleashed their ultimate weapon, a colossal battleship, a weapon of destruction so vast it seemed capable of eradicating entire planets. The ship was unlike anything the humans had ever faced, a dark behemoth armed with energy cannons that could vaporize entire fleets. The Dominion had put everything they had into this one final strike. If they couldn't destroy Earth with this ship, they would be forced to retreat and admit defeat, and the galaxy could never allow that to happen. Lyra's heart pounded as she saw the massive battleship enter the fray. It was a terrifying sight, and the humans weren't sure if they could withstand such an overwhelming force. But Lyra knew one thing for certain. They had no choice but to face it head-on. The artifact's power had awakened the true potential of humanity, and now they would prove they were worthy of it. With a final rallying cry, Lyra and the Guardians led the charge. They attacked the massive battleship with everything they had. Energy blasts, tactical strikes, and all the combined strength of the awakened humans. The battle raged on for hours, each moment feeling like an eternity. The air was filled with the roar of engines, the crackling of energy shields, and the deafening explosions as ships collided and crumbled. The Dominion's battleships seemed invincible, but the humans fought with an intensity that could not be ignored. At the peak of the battle, as the humans' forces began to falter under the might of the Dominion's superweapon, something extraordinary happened. The artifact, responding to the urgency of the moment, surged with power. It was as if Earth itself was fighting back, urging humanity to push through the impossible. The power surged into Lyra's body, and for the first time, she truly understood the artifact's full potential. With newfound strength, Lyra unleashed an energy blast so powerful it ripped through the battleship's shields, causing them to buckle and fracture. The ship's core exploded in a brilliant flash, sending shockwaves throughout the battlefield. The Dominion fleet, shaken by the destruction of their ultimate weapon, began to retreat once more. The humans had won a decisive victory, but it was far from over. Lyra knew that the Dominion and Harbingers would not give up so easily. But this battle, this victory, had proven something critical. Earth was no longer a helpless planet at the mercy of the galaxy. The humans were not weak, and they were not to be underestimated. They were the hidden war gods, and their fight had only just begun. The galaxy would soon learn that the real power of humanity lay not in their technology, but in their unbreakable will to survive, to fight, and to protect their home. The victory against the Dominion's battleship had sent shockwaves through the galaxy, but the war was far from over. Though the humans had proven their strength, the galaxy's powers were still determined to crush Earth and its newfound warriors. They had underestimated humanity before, but this time, there would be no more mistakes. Earth's defenders were strong, but they were still outmatched by the overwhelming forces aligned against them. The time for subtlety had passed. Now it was time for humanity to go on the offensive. The Dominion, rattled by their failure, was reassembling its forces. They were bringing in reinforcements, the might of their fleet growing ever larger. The Harbingers, too, were regrouping, preparing for their next strike. They had underestimated humanity, but they were not foolish. Now, they would come prepared for a war that could rip apart the very fabric of the galaxy. Back on Earth, Lyra and the Guardians were already planning their next move. The artifact's power was still growing, but so were the forces of the enemy. Humanity had learned to use the energy from the artifact in ways they never imagined. Its power was not just a weapon, but a way to connect with the very essence of the Earth itself. It gave them the ability to manipulate the planet's natural resources, and with that power, they could create technologies and weapons that had been beyond their reach. But the question remained, would it be enough to stop the coming storm? The humans were not waiting passively for the enemy to strike. They knew that to win this war, they would need to take the fight to the heart of the Dominion and Harbinger forces. Lyra, as the leader of the Guardians, devised a daring plan. They would strike at the enemy's core, infiltrating the heart of the Dominion's command center and the Harbinger's stronghold. The goal was simple: to cripple the enemy from within, to weaken them in a way that would force them to reconsider their war against Earth. To accomplish this, Lyra gathered a small, elite team of humanity's finest warriors and strategists, each one chosen for their unique skills and abilities. They would be going deep into enemy territory, far beyond the reach of Earth's protective forces. The mission would be dangerous, possibly suicidal, but it was humanity's best shot at winning this war. The stakes were higher than ever, and the team had no choice but to push forward, for the future of Earth was hanging by a thread. Before they set off, the Guardians gathered the rest of Earth's forces and rallied them for the fight ahead. The skies above Earth were dark with the ships of the Dominion and the Harbingers, their fleet threatening to descend upon the planet at any moment. The humans had learned much since their first victory, and they now knew how to fight in ways that would give them the edge. But even with their new strength, the coming battle would be one of the most difficult challenges they had ever faced. Lyra stood before the team, her eyes burning with determination. "This is it," she said, her voice steady and powerful. We are not just fighting for survival, we are fighting for the future of our species. If we fail, Earth will be destroyed, and we will never get another chance. But if we succeed, the galaxy will know what humanity is capable of. This is our time. Let's make sure they never forget it." With those words, the team set off. They were going straight into the heart of the enemy's domain, a place where no human had ever dared to go. The stakes were high, and failure was not an option. Earth's survival depended on their success. As they prepared for the mission, humanity's defenders knew one thing for certain. They were no longer the weak species the galaxy had once thought them to be. They were the warriors of Earth, and they would show the universe just how dangerous they could be. The first part of the mission was infiltration. Using the artifact's power, the team was able to cloak themselves from the enemy sensors, slipping undetected through the Dominion and Harbinger forces. The team moved silently through the alien territories, evading detection as they approached the heart of the enemy's command center. The tension was palpable. One wrong move, and their entire mission could be compromised. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they reached the enemy's stronghold. The heart of the Dominion's power was a massive, fortress-like structure, heavily fortified, and teeming with alien soldiers. But the humans had come prepared. With a combination of their new weapons, the artifact's energy, and their strategic brilliance, they managed to break through the first line of defense. The team fought their way through the alien defenses, each battle pushing them closer to their goal. But as they advanced, they realized that the enemy was not blind to their movements. The Dominion and Harbingers had begun to adapt, countering humanity's tactics with their own. The humans had to move faster, think sharper, and rely on every bit of their strength to keep going. Every step they took forward was a step closer to victory, or to death. In the midst of the chaos, Lyra could feel the artifact pulsing with energy. It was growing stronger, reacting to the intensity of the battle. The energy from the Earth itself seemed to be merging with the power of the artifact, amplifying their abilities. It was as though the planet was lending them its strength, guiding them forward. They were close now, so close to the heart of the Dominion's command. But time was running out. The enemy was regrouping, and the team could hear the roar of reinforcements approaching. There was no turning back now. The only choice was to push forward and finish the mission. With a final push, they broke through the last line of defense and found themselves inside the Dominion's inner sanctum, their control center, the heart of the enemy's war machine. Lyra stood at the threshold, her heart racing. The battle was nearly won, but the true test would come next. Would the humans be able to destroy the heart of the Dominion's power, or would they fall short? The fate of Earth, and the entire galaxy, was hanging in the balance. The Dominion's control center loomed before them, its walls pulsing with alien energy. The air was thick with tension as Lyra and her team stood at the threshold of what could either be their final victory or their last stand. The room inside was vast, filled with alien technology that hummed with an otherworldly power. This was the heart of the enemy's war machine, the source of their strength, their strategy, and the will to destroy Earth. The artifact's power surged through Lyra's veins, urging her forward, but she knew the real battle was about to begin. Her team was already moving, slipping through the dark corridors, their footsteps silent as they approached the central command hub. The walls were lined with monitors displaying alien symbols and data streams, but none of it made sense to them. It was clear, though, that this was where the Dominion's leadership coordinated their attacks, where they decided the fate of entire planets. And now it would be humanity's turn to make a decision. "Stay sharp," Lyra whispered to her team. "This is it. Once we're in, there's no turning back." The corridor opened up to a large chamber, the control hub for the entire Dominion fleet. The room was filled with soldiers, technicians, and alien leaders, most of them focused on the screens and consoles in front of them, unaware of the approaching humans. Lyra's heart pounded in her chest as she signaled for her team to move. The time for stealth was over. They needed to strike fast and hard. With a coordinated move, the humans launched their assault, using a combination of energy blasts and physical combat to disable the Dominion forces. The first few moments were chaos. Alien soldiers were knocked to the ground, their technology incapacitated as the humans pushed forward. The artifact's energy was crackling around Lyra, amplifying her strength and speed. She felt more powerful than ever before, as if the very essence of Earth itself was coursing through her. But the Dominion was no stranger to war. They quickly regrouped, summoning reinforcements from hidden chambers within the control center. The room filled with the shrieks of alien war machines, and the air crackled with energy blasts. The humans were pushed back, their momentum faltering for a brief moment. "Fall back," Lyra shouted, rallying her team. "We need to regroup and find another way in." They retreated, using the narrow corridors to evade the Dominion forces. But even as they ran, Lyra knew they couldn't afford to lose ground. They needed to find the heart of the Dominion's power, the central core that powered their fleet, the source of their endless resources. If they could destroy that, they could cripple the entire Dominion war effort. They took a different route, slipping into another access tunnel. The artifact's power guided them, its energy pulsing stronger with each step. Lyra could feel the presence of the artifact in her mind, as if it was communicating with her, urging her on. It was strange, almost mystical, but Lyra didn't have time to dwell on it. They were running out of time. The tunnel led them to a massive chamber, the central core of the Dominion's control network. It was a vast, metallic structure, humming with energy, its lights flickering ominously. At the center was a massive crystal, pulsating with alien energy. Lyra recognized it instantly. This was the source of the Dominion's power. If they could destroy it, the entire fleet would lose its strength, and the war would be over. But the crystal was protected by a massive energy shield, one that would take everything the humans had to break through. The Dominion forces had anticipated an attack on the core. Lyra's team would need to act quickly, or they would be overwhelmed. "We don't have much time," Lyra said, her voice steady despite the fear gnawing at her insides. "We have to destroy the core now. Get into position." Her team moved quickly, positioning themselves around the chamber, setting up explosives, and preparing their weapons. The tension in the air was thick as they worked in perfect coordination, their every move guided by the power of the artifact. The crystal at the center of the room pulsed with energy, as though it sensed their approach, and the shield around it shimmered menacingly. Suddenly, the room shook, and a loud, booming voice echoed through the chamber. "You cannot defeat us." The voice was deep and cold, and it seemed to come from all around them. Lyra's heart skipped a beat. The Dominion's leader had arrived. A massive alien figure appeared before them, towering over the humans. His body was encased in armor, his eyes glowing with a sickly green light. He was the leader of the Dominion's forces, the one who had orchestrated the war against Earth. Lyra could feel the weight of his presence, his overwhelming power radiating from him. "You think you can defeat the Dominion?" He spat. "You are nothing but insects to us. You will die here, and your world will burn." But Lyra stood her ground. She felt the power of the artifact surge through her, its energy matching the strength of the alien leader. This was it. This was the moment when humanity would either rise or fall. They had fought too long, sacrificed too much, to let this monster stand in their way. With a defiant roar, Lyra and her team launched themselves at the Dominion leader. The final battle for Earth's survival had begun. The alien leader unleashed a blast of energy, sending Lyra and her team flying back. But they quickly recovered, using their newfound powers to counter his attacks. The fight was fierce, their movements a blur as they clashed with the enemy leader. It felt like the galaxy itself was holding its breath, waiting to see which side would emerge victorious. Lyra could feel the artifact's power pulsing within her, guiding her every move. She could hear its voice, urging her to strike. With a final decisive blow, Lyra managed to land a powerful hit on the Dominion leader, sending him crashing to the ground. The energy shield around the core flickered and collapsed, and the humans wasted no time in setting their charges. The countdown began. As the explosion rocked the chamber, the Dominion leader's screams echoed through the facility. The core exploded in a blinding flash of light, the shockwave rippling outward, tearing apart the Dominion's control network. The room trembled as the structure began to collapse. Humanity had won. The war was over. But as the dust settled and the wreckage of the Dominion's stronghold burned around them, Lyra knew one thing for certain. This victory was just the beginning. The galaxy would never forget the hidden war gods that humanity had become, and Earth would rise, stronger than ever before.